hasn't been as consistent in recent times, but here we go. We are diving into our first game.
And we are kicking it off on Waterfall. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our blue Protoss player coming from the land of China. He, of course, is going to be representing Invictus Gaming IG. He is MacSed.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Waterfall, we have the Chinese Protoss player himself, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming DPG. It is Jieshi.
One thing I always look forward to, like, when it does come to the Protoss players in the Chinese region is they have a very unique way of doing things. I mean, dating back all the way since Heart of the Swarm, they've always had their own kind of style going on, and yeah, I feel like nowadays you can see even more kind of distinctions between each Protoss player here.
Oh, definitely. That's one of the great things about some of these other smaller regions, is that they do often have their own meta. You know, just because the Koreans or the Europeans play a certain way doesn't necessarily dictate that, or doesn't telegraph the same thing for these other regions. So we'll see how that plays out here today. So far, standard opener so far, because we are on Waterfall and because we do have that ramp at the natural base, both players have gone for, or are attempting to go for, gate expands.
Yeah, feeling pretty safe over here, getting those gateways on the low ground as well. Also being as annoying as possible, just trying to get as long of a delay on that natural base as they can.
Oh, exactly. There we go. We have a completion of the pylon here in the natural base of Jieshi. Would you have the probe remaining here? So Max said if he wanted to, he could throw down a cybercore here to even further delay this expansion, but he did already force out that zealot, and it may not be worth the investment. We'll see what he goes for, as Jieshi didn't go for the pylon block.
Yeah, just utilized his probe a little bit, was able to get a full scout in the main base, and now MacSed is free to expand, so is Jieshi though.
Yeah, and they both did force out those zealots. The one difference, I guess, is that Jieshi didn't have to invest into a pylon, so you could argue that maybe he was a little bit more efficient overall with his plans. He even delayed his opponent's natural as long as his was delayed, so yeah, pretty similar openers here.
Yeah, overall, slightly in the favor of Jieshi, but not enough of an advantage to really get a sense of how the rest of this game is going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Just a small advantage here and there. I guess the biggest diversion point right now, both players are going for their second gateways. We do see Jieshi throwing down actually a forward gateway here, as his own second gate was a little bit faster. Oh, but he is forced to cancel.
Yeah, unfortunately. Kind of a weird position to put a pylon, though.
Very brazen, you know, very in the face of MacSed. Aye.
It was the mind games all along. Nice target firing here. On top of that zealot from Jieshi, once again getting a slight advantage, a slight win.
Yeah, I mean, Jieshi does have the Stalker lead right now, but with the power of the Sentry, with the shield battery, with overcharge, MacSed has been able to deflect this aggression quite easily. Only losing a Zealot, but we trade a Zealot for a Zealot, essentially. And we do see Jieshi rocking up once again here to just keep the pressure up. Will he deal too much damage? He shouldn't because of the shield battery, but at least he is just making sure that MacSed is uncomfortable.
Yeah, he is well aware that he shouldn't really be able to get much done here in terms of aggression, but like you said, he can make MacSed a little bit uncomfortable. He can just prevent a move out of probes or of scouting or anything like that.
Yeah, pretty much MacSed just being contained here. But the purpose of these sentries is not just defensive for their defensive capabilities, but they also go for a hallucinated scout. Jieshi just did attempt to try and stop that from happening, but the halluc did get past him. At the same time, he now has some adepts, and ooh, that wall was not a wall.
That it was not. The sentries are a little bit out of position to go for a force field or anything like that. The adepts do slip in. They get a full scout. They see the double forge being produced, and they even pick off a bunch of probes.
Oh, yeah, exactly. 5 probes are already going to be going down here. The adept does shade in towards the natural, finally gets cleaned up, but the damage has been done. Meanwhile, across the map, MacSed gets his own full scout of confirming, oh, you know what? You don't just have these gateways up and running. We also have a robot. We also have a prism on the way.
Yeah, Jieshi, I'm once again gonna continue to be the player who takes the initiative in this game. He is going to be on the map with that Warp Prism, securing his own expansion as well. What can MacSed really do from here to break out of this contain?
That's the thing, right? Because this isn't like Jieshi is going off of like 4 gate blinks or blinkless stalkers or anything like that. He is looking to expand, and right now just hoping to contain his opponent. MacSed does have a pretty formidable army, don't get me wrong. He does have the stalker lead right now, but he's a little bit out of position. As he moves out to take a third base, his main is looking exposed, and that's exactly where the Prism is going.
Just like so. Look at that. He even avoids the buildings and just drops into dead space.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he took note of the building placement earlier, so he knew exactly where to drop. There we go, 4 depths into the main base. 1 worker is already going to go down. We do have some stalkers that are going to try and regain control of this area, but they just shade into the natural.
They just pick off, or, well, they're going to attempt to pick off even more probes. Shade is off cooldown right now, and these adepts, they're going to get cleaned up, no problem, but not before 5 probes get taken out.
There we go. 5 more probes go down. We still don't have a third base, by the way, because MacSed was pulled back into his main, was forced to warp in additional units, was forced to focus here on the defense. We have another blink, but the Prism does survive. And now we see Jieshi with a pretty nice worker lead.
Yeah, he's got the worker lead, he's got the tech lead, since, of course, he did get that robo facility a lot quicker than MacSed. Immortals make all the difference in a Blink Stalker unit composition.
Yeah, you say much faster. Well, he got it, period. You know, MacSed doesn't have he doesn't have a robo right now. He's going pure Blink Stalker. I mean, to be fair, he does have an upgrade advantage. He does have +2 on the way, whereas Jieshi hasn't started his own +2, so there can be a timing here maybe, but as I say that, there we go, +2 now starts. There's only a handful of seconds difference between the 2 players. MacSed is going to be forced to make use of this army, and he does have a pretty large stalker lead looking at the units tab.
He does, and if he's able to catch Jieshi a little bit out of position, he can definitely snipe down the Immortals and try to take a fight from there, but you still don't want to blink on top of Immortals unless you're certain you can win.
Yeah, and the problem is that right now MacSed is a little bit in the dark. He hasn't seen the main army. Finally, he is moving out with his Blink Stalker. He's going to be poking and prodding at this third base, the third that he was able to confirm earlier, but Jieshi is here. He's in position. He has a shield battery. He has overcharge. He has the high ground with the Immortals.
And just like that, he's going to be able to chase MacSed away. But MacSed isn't done just yet. He's getting 4 more gateways behind this, and there's that robo facility we were talking about. MacSed, I doubt a 4th base is on his mind at all.
Yeah, exactly. With this gateway explosion, he's probably going to be hammering down at that stalker button. At the same time, Jieshi is trying to sneak out a 4th base. Honestly, a pretty greedy move. MacSed doesn't check for the 4th, though. He goes straight into the natural.
And there is an Immortal here to defend, an Immortal plus battery overcharge. It's a pretty good defense, not gonna lie.
I love how 1 Immortal stands strong against, what is this, 9 Stalkers. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Overcharge is everything, apparently. And because of that, MacSed, he wasted a little bit of time at the natural, and this 4th base so far has gone unhindered.
Absolutely unhindered. I mean, Jieshi is going to be able to mine from that pretty much immediately. He hasn't stopped making probes. He can definitely Maynard a bunch of them over.
Yeah, he definitely can saturate that base. Meanwhile, it looks like the Prism has been found. MacSed is looking to try and dive on this as soon as he can. He does have a blink. Up!
And he just has enough Stalkers to take out that Warp Prism finally. That's one less thing for MacSed to worry about, and gives him a lot more breathing room to solidify his army.
Yeah, it really does. He is solidifying that army with some charge ults as well. Charge ults are amazing against not just Blink Stalkers, but Robo units in general. What they aren't amazing against are Archons, and we have the first Archon available for Jieshi. To be fair, only 1 Archon right now. We do need a couple more here, especially against the onslaught of Zealots that we have available to us. We have 15 Zealots.
That's a lot of Zealots, let me tell you. But, thankfully for Jieshi, he does have a little bit more time to get those Archons, because Charge is only about halfway done right now for MacSed.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice. Oh my god, so he actually can't hit any kind of charge timing. Meanwhile, Jieshi is already done here. I have to wonder, maybe MacSed forgot it a little bit, because this is far later than it should be.
It absolutely is. Meanwhile, Jieshi forcing a bit of a recall here thanks to that pincer maneuver. And once again, he's established control of the map.
Yeah, exactly. Jieshi has the map control right now. He is moving on out. Likewise, MacSed with that recall was able to save the majority of his units. Now he's going to be on the bit of a back foot, but defender's advantage is everything. You know, shield batteries, overcharge, defensive warp-ins. We'll see how this does end up playing out. Jieshi has very limited vision on the left-hand side of the map, but I love that he's moving a Zealot over here just in case MacSed goes for a backstab.
Yeah, he doesn't scout a backstab, but he does scout a 4th base going on over there, so somewhere for Jieshi to maneuver to.
Yeah, at the same time, we have a Prism going into the main base, so Jieshi is going for a bit of a multi-prong attack. He's pulling the attention away from the 3rd. At the same time, in comes that main army.
And they are just charging straight forward into the army. So many Zealots fighting at once. The Archon advantage is in MacSed's favor, but in the end, I think the sheer DPS from Jieshi actually isn't going to be enough here.
Yeah, it looks like there isn't enough gateway units. We do have a couple of Zealots coming in to reinforce, but what's important is that outside of all of this, the entire mineral line went down. 15 probes fell to that Zealot harass, to that Zealot run by in the main base of MacSed.
Yeah, these are army losses that Jieshi could definitely afford to take, but that economic loss from MacSed, I mean, just look at that worker supply difference right now. It's reflected in their incomes.
Yeah, exactly.
And their production.
MacSed, he's down 20 workers right now, which means he's going to be forced to counterattack. He has to make something happen here. The army is being called out. Jieshi once again going to buy a little bit of time with this Zealot run by. Does unfortunately run into the main army, but at least Jieshi is fully aware, and now he's going to rotate to meet it.
Yeah, and he's going to rotate to meet it with Disruptors. Now MacSed is giving Jieshi a bit of a taste of his own medicine here. A very quick warp-in of a whole ton of Zealots to try to mess up this mineral line. But look at how good Jieshi SimCity is.
Wow, there's no way in. At the same time, we have another Zealot run back here at the 3rd base, and MacSed has to make a choice. Does he turn around and protect his 3rd base, or does he go for the attack?
Oh, he turns around, but he does not protect that 3rd base. MacSed forced to retreat entirely. He still has a bit of a bigger army, and those Zealots in the main base of Jieshi are wreaking havoc over here. They actually cleared up a lot of the gateway production here.
Yeah, the gateways are going down, but again, like, Jieshi is buying so much time for things that matter. Not necessarily gateways, but more disruptors, right? He already has 2 disruptors now. He's going to be working on even more of them. The Zealots do get cleaned up as the War Prism went down, and now MacSed, if he wasn't all in before, he's even more all in now.
Or is he? Because he turns around.
He's MacSed, please. We gotta, like, his army is still pretty impressive. You know, he's up in army supply right now. Of course, it's difficult because he's gonna be playing against disruptors of all things, but like, he can still take a fight.
He absolutely can. It's difficult, but if he micros correctly, then he can definitely try to take a fight against Jieshi. I can't fault him for, you know, trying to decide what his best move is here, but if he needs to be a bit more decisive.
He really does. Like, he's up against the wall right now. He's up against everything as we have another Zealot run by hitting that 3rd base. He's never going to be able to get it up and running. We do see him try and poke in, but now he gets eyes on those disruptors, and he really doesn't feel confident in a fight.
And once again, I can't say I blame him. A couple of Purification Novas get thrown off. They don't really connect with too much. Right here comes a flanking Nova.
Yeah,
Archons will be taken out from MacSed.
They do get taken down. We do have a couple of reinforcing Zealots coming in, though, and Jieshi is being forced back towards his 4th base. But this is where we have cannons, we have shield batteries, we have an overcharge if we ever need it. Apparently, we do not, as Jieshi forces MacSed back.
Yeah, and now look at the army supply difference. Jieshi only had to defend once. That was the entire army MacSed had. GG is called. Jieshi will take game number 1.
GG. Well played, Jieshi. That entire game, it felt like he was in the driver's seat there. MacSed was always attempting to respond. It always felt like he was a little bit one step behind.
Yeah, that's yeah. Tracing it all the way back to the beginning of the game where, you know, MacSed threw down that pylon, but whereas Jieshi didn't have to do that, but still delayed the Nexus by as much as his own was delayed anyway. That was huge. I can't help but keep thinking back to that second forge, though. Like, I'm sure it was a bit of a mistake there, but and I think in the end we would have had the same result anyway. But feels bad, man.
Yeah. A bit of a feels bad, man. That like again, MacSed was just he was on the receiving end of a lot of harassment that game. You know,
Yeah.
let's not forget about the Adepts, right? The Adepts killed 10 workers in total between them,
Hmm.
just to force him behind even further. He was really struggling to maintain eyes on the army so he can keep up with the rotations. We saw him time and time again pulled back into his main base. But what I will say is that a lot of that also came down to the map. We saw that Jieshi was hyper aggressive and was really quick to maneuver his army and hit certain bases, and a lot of that is because the map itself was pretty small.
Yeah. But here's the thing. We're about to move into a map that isn't quite as small, but is still considered to be on the smaller end of this current map pool, inside and out. I have a feeling we're going to see a very similar gameplay out here.
Yeah, it's quite possible. It's quite possible. Inside and Out is a map with a couple more bases, but nowhere near as many as Data C or Tropical Sacrifice. Inside and Out does kind of lean towards a more aggressive style as well. It feels.
Yeah, definitely. Just look at how few bases there are, man. compared to some of the other maps, you know.
Yeah, you're telling me, mate.
Yeah.
Aye. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the dynamic will shift here. How the dynamic will shift, as this is gonna be another one of those maps, and again, this is kind of like a common theme amongst the new map pool, where the natural does have that ramp, so we can see more like greedy or economic play.
Yeah, it's a lot more defensible in that way.
Yeah. Even if specifically this ramp on Inside and Out is a little bit awkward as well. Like if you recall, like
Yeah, but
I think Gemini had to make a specific like guide just to wall off this map.
yeah. So he released the here's how to wall off on these maps, guys, that he does every season. And then he had to make an additional one for Inside and Out because he was not able to figure it out in time. That's how awkward this ramp is. Anyway, we are here continuing our series now on Inside and Out. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our blue Protoss player coming out from the land of China. He's going to be representing Invictus Gaming, IG. He is MacSed.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have the Chinese Protoss player himself representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, DPG. It is Jieshi.
Keeping my eye on this probe this time. I mean, it is PvP, you know, you want to... Oh, look at that, a little hitbang. Anyway, it is PvP, you know, you do want to be annoying with your probe. You want to get a bit of a delay on your opponent's natural base as much as you can, but that doesn't mean that you can't throw down a cheeky Dark Shrine somewhere.
It's true, you know. PvP does have a bit of a reputation. Oh my god, Jieshi sneaks a pylon in the main base of MacSed.
Oh my. Was it going to be light at depths, or do you think he's ballsy enough to try to go for that Dark Shrine?
It should just be for Adepts. It should be, but this is so ballsy coming out from Jieshi right now. He's selling a story that everything is looking quite normal here. We do see once again a little bit of a dance. MacSed throwing down that pylon here to block that natural.
Oh no, I can't throw down my natural in the right timing because of this pylon.
Whatever shall I do? Okay, MacSed, interesting. This time will not allow the pylon to finish, so he's going to be a little bit more efficient this time. He will cancel.
Yeah, he can even throw out a second pylon just to get even more of a delay if he so desires. Oh, not if the probe dies, though.
True, the probe does go down. And with that, MacSed will be able to establish his natural base. Jieshi will be able to establish his natural base. MacSed going to throw down his own a little bit later, but we see why he does delay his Nexus for a faster Stargate instead. And I believe Jieshi has not scouted this.
Not yet, but once he gets Warp Gate, and once he throws down a couple of Adepts and that pylon, should be able to. I mean, Warp Gate is Yeah, okay, he should be able to get Warp Gate before any Stargate unit pops out.
Definitely. And with that, he'll be able to not just deal damage, but also get a scout off of that tech. Meanwhile, we do see that MacSed is a little bit, he's dancing a little bit here in the center of the map with Jieshi, both players with equal units, but in comes Jieshi with one additional Stalker. And it looks like he's going to be able to, outposition his opponent a little bit, but takes a couple of shots.
Yeah, both players a little bit out in the open here with their armies. Surprisingly, MacSed will be able to take out that Zealot of... swap those names around. Jieshi will be able to take out that Zealot of MacSed, despite Shield Battery finishing up just at the end over there.
Yeah, they trade Zealot for Zealot in the end. And meanwhile, Jieshi, he's waiting, he's chronoing out that warp gate as best as he can so he can get a bit of a warp in. The longer this game goes on, the higher chances there are for MacSed to actually find that pylon. So far, he hasn't stumbled across it yet. Jeshi's doing a great job at keeping his attention here at the natural base. Instead, we do have the unit of choice. It is going to be an Oracle first, and that's also why it's so important for Jieshi to get the scout off. Here we go, in come two Adepts.
And MacSed has absolutely no idea what's coming his way. He's gonna hear the alert, he's gonna check his natural base. The Oracle does pop out, but we already have shield batteries protecting the mineral lines. Unlike two Adepts, a single Oracle cannot one-shot probe.
Smudge, there we go. The Oracle finally getting a little bit of damage done, but at the same time, the Adepts are going ham in the main base of MacSed. Finally, it looks like the Adepts are going to get cleaned up here, but no, they shade in towards the natural as well, getting another probe.
Yeah, Jieshi did take a little bit of damage to that Oracle, but he dealt even more damage here with his Adepts. And now if we, take stock back at home, that feels bad. That Oracle with no energy, just wanted to take out that pylon.
The pylon will go down in the end. Finally, MacSed regains control of his base, but look at that unit count, look at that worker count. He is down 10 probes.
And this isn't just because of the harass that was happening with those Adepts, it's also just because Jieshi was able to get his base up much quicker than MacSed, right? It's just because MacSed was delaying his own natural to get that Stargate.
100%, mate. And so far, these Stargate units, these Oracles, haven't paid for themselves. But here we go with two Oracles. They do dip back in, taking a couple of hits here to the face. Oh my god! It looks like one of the Oracles is going to go down.
Yeah, the other Oracle takes a little bit of hull damage as well, but anyway, it doesn't have much energy on it.
Yeah, exactly. Now there is no longer any one-shot potential. There's still value to be had in this Oracle, don't get me wrong, but you were talking about it, because of these Oracles, because of the Stargate, it did delay everything else. Meanwhile, Jieshi, he's on the hunt. He wanted to try and intercept that Oracle. Almost does. Unfortunately, Jieshi doesn't have Blink yet.
Yeah, but it'll be out pretty soon. And once it is, MacSed is gonna run out a little bit when it comes to options. Jieshi also has that Observer coming in here to, maybe try to go for a cheeky blink into the main if he can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if he's able to pull that off or not. Meanwhile, MacSed is being contained here to two bases. This is a bit of a little bit of deja vu. This happened in game number 1 where Jieshi maintains map control and takes a faster third behind it.
Yep. Very similar maps, Waterfall and Inside and Out, and despite the openings, we are seeing very similar dynamic.
Yeah, I guess we do have different tools available for MacSed. We do see, I love it, a stasis trap in the main base, just in case we have that blink to the main, as you were foretelling. We also have a Phoenix here patrolling the dead space, just in case a War Prism tries to go in as well. Oh,
yeah, MacSed has definitely learned quite a bit from game number 1. He definitely knows a lot of the tactics Jieshi likes to pull out, and he does not want to fall for them again.
But somehow, someway, the Cybercore is going to go down.
What were we talking about? About this ramp being a little bit more awkward?
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why.
It's a large ramp. There's a lot of surface area here. There's a lot of room to maneuver around, and just like that, MacSed, he can't warp in any more Stalkers.
I mean, he can't even warp in much of anything. He can't even warp in many Zealots right now because that was okay. Yeah. That was half of his gateways, not all of them.
Half is still a pretty large number, to be fair. As the pilots are going to finish up here at the natural base. MacSed has to rebuild his Cybercore, by the way. He hasn't thrown it down yet. I don't know if he's recognized exactly what happened.
Unless he's just planning to go full Charged Archon from here.
I mean, you're not wrong. MacSed does have charge, to be fair, and he is just prioritizing nothing but gateways, so I do want to believe you. I want to believe that this is intentional from him, and we'll see if this is going to work out in the end. He does have charge, by the way, and the gateways are finishing up.
Yeah, plus, look at the defender's advantage that MacSed has right now. It is a bit of an awkward surface area on that ramp, but it is a ramp nonetheless, and it is a choke point nonetheless.
Really is. Meanwhile, MacSed trying to push down this ramp, trying to force his way through so he can get a third base up and running. I say that, but we are going to have a lot of gateways finishing up. We have 10 gateways here for MacSed. I don't really know if he intends. No, he does. He throws down a third.
May as well take this 2-base all-in to a 3-base all-in. That's math.
It is math. Interesting. Okay, sorry. So 8 gates, not 10. 8 gateways here available. So, alright. He's still planning to look ahead. I still hope that it's intentional that he didn't rebuild that cybercore. The longer this game goes on, the longer I'm unsure about it.
Yeah, I'll keep my eyes, one eye stuck to that production tab for you.
Oh, there it is.
Cheer for it. Woo! Being thrown down.
Yeah, the cybercore.
But at this point, it may be too little, too late because Jieshi is ahead in every other metric. I mean, MacSed is still ahead when it comes to the Archon count as well as the Immortal count. But when it comes to everything that counts, Jieshi is ahead.
Yeah, he really is. Meanwhile, he does blink all the way into the main base. There is no blink available for MacSed. His army is incredibly immobile, forced to recall even.
Yeah, which is the last thing you really want to be forced to utilize here in a PvP. Things are looking a little bit dicey over here by the third base location. More and more stalkers rock in to just provide a bit of a flank, and MacSed being attacked at every angle. GG is called.